Good morning, everyone. Well, with a weak cold front pushing in, it does look like showers and storms in central and western Iowa today. And then for tomorrow, we'll see some of the activity push into the eastern part of the state. So let's break down both days for you, starting at 8 a.m. this morning. And for the morning commute, we're just talking about isolated showers and maybe one or two weak storms in the northwestern part of the state. So the vast majority across Iowa having a dry morning commute. In fact, I'm going to jump ahead until 2 o'clock this afternoon. Notice the activity continues through the morning hours and around lunchtime, but it's around 2 o'clock that I think we'll start to see some new storms develop, and it's these storms where there is a small chance that a few of them could be severe. I do think most of the storms that pop up this afternoon, this evening, are just going to be regular thunderstorms, but do have to watch out in a few spots for some damaging wind and hail, and possibly as early as 2 o'clock this afternoon. But I think the peak in the activity is going to be in the late afternoon and early evening hours. This is typically the case this time of year. Now, look at the difference in temperatures today. So you can see where the cold front is and is not. Notice that at 5 o'clock this afternoon, we're talking about low 80s, upper 70s in the central and western part of the state. But as you get into the eastern part of the state, our temperature's going to be topping out upper 80s, maybe even the low 90s, particularly in the Quad Cities. It looks like we could hit 91, maybe even 92 degrees. A little bit of a difference in wind too across the state, less to the east and a little more to the west, but nowhere very much. We're talking about winds around 10 miles per hour for the eastern half of the state and only around 15 miles per hour for the western half of the state. And notice also that we're not talking about widespread thunderstorm activity with this cold front. Notice the gaps, but also notice that there are some shades of red showing up, certainly indicating thunderstorms, but also the potential for a couple of severe storms. Mason City stretching down to the south and west. The thing is, this front is going to be stalling out in the central part of the state. So that's why we're not going to see the storms spread too much farther to the east. Maybe trying to push into the Waterloo area and east of Des Moines. And this is 8 o'clock, so notice still some thunderstorms around, though gaps, and still some shades of red, so possibly couple of severe storms. However, by the time we get to 11 o'clock, notice those shades of red going away. Still looking at isolated showers and maybe a couple of weak storms, but the chance for severe storms going away. So to summarize, for central and western Iowa, not for the eastern part of the state, but for the central and western part of the state, not worried about tornadoes today, not worried about flooding, but we're talking about scattered showers and storms from 2 o'clock this afternoon until 11 o'clock this evening. And though most of those storms are just going to be regular thunderstorms, do have to mention that we could see a couple turn severe. And in those severe storms, it is possible we could see up to penny-sized hail and wind gusts up to 50 miles per hour. So not a big severe weather day, but do want to mention it as a possibility in a few spots. And before we wrap up, I do want to look ahead to tomorrow. We're looking at 7 a.m. Tomorrow morning, and notice kind of a similar story where we're just starting out with some isolated showers, maybe a couple of weak storms, central and western part of the state. Except for tomorrow, we're actually going to see some activity pop up in the eastern part of the state. That's because the front is still stalled out in the central part of the state, and the area of high pressure that's been hanging out in eastern Iowa weakening a little bit, so allowing an opportunity for some showers and storms to develop for places like the Quad Cities. Notice 11 a.m. though, still nothing big. It's going to be in the afternoon where we're going to see those storms have a better chance of firing up. As far as temperatures go, again, with the front stalled out in the central part of the state, notice that it's pretty much a repeat in temperatures. Cooler to the north and west and warmer to the south and east. As warm as the low 90s and as cool as the upper 70s. I do think a little bit more wind for everyone tomorrow. Gusts around 15 miles per hour for the eastern part of the state and gusts around 20 miles per hour for the western part of the state. And notice that this is 3 o'clock, and notice, again, not talking about widespread activity, but showers and storms possible anywhere in the state, and that's going to continue into the early evening hours. So again, I expect a peak in the shower and thunderstorm activity late afternoon, early evening hours. But because this front is stalled out and not moving anymore, though we're going to see some showers and storms, does not look like any severe storms for tomorrow.